Hey friends, I'm so glad you're here, and I want to invite you into a conversation that could literally change how you see your yard, your health, and maybe even your faith. You see, we've been trained to think that the answer to our health problems is somewhere out there, right? At the doctor's office, in a prescription that we take, in some fancy products. But what if the answer is actually beneath our feet in our lawn? What if that dandelion poking up through your driveway crack isn't a nuisance, but a God designed healer? What if we've been calling weeds that aren't really weeds, and we haven't been seeing them as heaven sent medicine? Today, we're going to talk about a few humble but yet powerful plants that are growing wild kind of all over the Midwest for certain, and maybe even in your area too. Plants that can support your liver, your skin, your gut, your hormones, and your immune system. I'll give you some of the basic uses, some of the basic science, and the dosages, and the heart behind why I believe that these plants are part of God's healing provision. And I'll show you how to start just touching on how to use them practically in your home, because there is so much more to all of them. We're just going to brush the surface. So grab a pen and maybe even a cup of tea if you haven't already, and let's walk through this wild and wonderful world of our backyard and medicine together. All right, are you ready? So, first of all, let's get to the shift, right? Let's begin shifting how we actually think about weeds. Most people see weeds and want to kill them, but in almost every ancient culture, the weeds we see as invasive were actually regarded as first aid. In Scripture, God clearly says, I have given you every herb for your good, not just the ones that are cultivated or sold at the health food store, all of them. However, due to the fall of man, some have become used against our bodies, right? Here's what's tragic, though. We've lost the skills that our ancestors once had. Once upon a time, our grandparents or great-grandparents knew how to make poultices for a burn or a tea for a cough, using what grew right outside their doors. Today, we're so removed from that wisdom that we feel helpless without having our neighborhood pharmacies. This isn't just about nostalgia. This is about stewardship of our land. These plants are not only scientifically proven to have real effects, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, hormone modulating, they're also free, abundant, and safe when used correctly. And I know some of you will be saying, well, that's why herbs aren't used anymore outside of a pharmacy, because they could kill us. Well, yes, that is true. If used incorrectly, they could make you sick. And in some cases, if you're using the wrong ones at the wrong time, in the wrong dosages, they could probably do that. But there's so much more that you can learn and know about them. And most herbs are relatively safe. So let's take back some ground, literally. Let's talk about how to partner with what's growing naturally around us to rebuild health from the roots up. So let's start out with the most famous of all weeds, and the one that everybody wants to eradicate the most. And you've guessed it, and you've seen it a million times. It's the dandelion, that poor, misunderstood dandelion that graces most everyone's lawns nationwide. You've seen it a million times, and maybe you've made wishes on the seed heads by blowing them off in the wind when you were young, and maybe you still do now. Maybe you've tried to dig it out of your lawn or, unfortunately, even spray it. But did you know it's one of the most powerful liver and kidney supporters in the plant kingdom? Dandelion leaf is a natural diuretic, helping the body release excess water and sodium without depleting potassium like synthetic diuretics do. The root, which I have right here, is, on the other hand, stimulates bile flow, which is critical for breaking down fats and clearing out the toxins from the liver. It's also been studied for its ability to lower blood sugar and even support the skin by helping with internal detoxification. Now, here's how I use dandelion in my practice and what I do with it. The fresh younger leaves they're great in salads or even sauteed. To get the digestive enzymes going, those leaves are great even as a pre-meal bitter green salad. So when you've heard of bitters before a meal, it's not the type of salad that most people eat today. It was not made up of iceberg lettuce, I'm telling you. It was made up of the bitter greens. Our ancestors knew how to do that by introducing those bitter greens into our system. So fresh young leaves in salads. Bitter is better because it helps with those digestive enzymes, helps digest your meals better. The dried root, like I have here, is great in a tea or tincture for that sluggish digestion or liver congestion. And the flowers are great when infused in oil and then made. Either you can use the oil or you can make it into a salve for gentle skin healing. Now, the typical dosage for a tea is like 1 to 2 teaspoons of the dried leaf or the root per cup of tea, steeped 10 to 15 minutes, and you can drink that up to 3 times a day. Tinctures is about 30 to 60 drops of the tincture, 2 to 3 times per day for liver support. The deeper lesson here is that healing doesn't have to come in a bottle from a pharmacy. It might come in the form of a bitter little plant that pops up year after year, offering you a lawn full of grace. Now, one of the caveats and warnings I would give to you is if you are going to wildcraft your dandelion, please do it from a place that does not have chemical runoff or sprays. You want to make sure that you are harvesting dandelion from a safe organic space and area, or that you are purchasing your dandelion root, leaves, or flowers from a trusted source. Now, another powerhouse is plantain. And if you've been following me in any of my socials, you've been seeing me show a picture of a beautiful plantain that I have in one of my rock beds. But this is plantain leaf, and this is great in tea. And I'm not talking about the plantain leaves off the cousin to the banana, of course. I'm talking about the actual herb that looks like a weed. Um, it's got that low growing green, thick veins that grow in the leaf and often stepped on almost completely ignored. And it can have thin leaves, broad leaves, and it's almost never appreciated until, if you know what you're using it for, you get a sting or a burn. That leaf will completely relieve that sting immediately. So plantain is like God's version of Neosporin. You get a bug bite or a bee sting or a cut, you chew up a plantain leaf and press it right on the wound. It pulls, cleans, and it heals almost immediately. Internally, when you take it in the tea form or the leaf form like I have here, it's soothing for ulcers and gut inflammation and sore throats. It's high in mucilage, which acts like a protective coating. So here's how to use it. As a tea for gut issues or irritated throats. As a poultice, literally just mash it fresh and apply it. Now you're probably thinking, well, in the winter time, I won't have it fresh. So what I do is take the fresh leaves, chop them up, and then mix them with a very small amount of water to make a paste. Freeze them in ice cube trays, and then once they're frozen in those ice cube forms, pop them out, put them in a baggie, and put them in the freezer. That way you will have plantain poultices ready to go for the winter months if you need them. Then you can also use plantain as an oil infusion for salves or making a balm. So very, very versatile, very versatile herb to be able to use. When you're using it as a tea, you can do 1 to 2 teaspoons dried leaves per cup. Again, steeping covered. You always cover your herbs with a cover on your cup because you don't want their volatile oils to be dissipated into the air. Always put a cover on them after you add your herbs. Steep that for 10 to 12 minutes. If you're using that poultice, of course, the fresh is best. You chew it, just chew it up, and then you're going to spit it out onto your, directly onto that sting or that cut. Now, we're not talking about a deep gouging cut. We're just talking about a cut. Or you can grind it or press it on the wound as well. But the whole thing is to release the oil that's inside the leaf. So one of the verses that comes to mind with plantain is Ezekiel 47:12. Their leaves will be for healing. This plantain, that's what this is. That's plantain in a nutshell, you guys. So another one, let me just set these right here. Clear my space. Okay. For me, purple violet is another one that has not only beauty, but it's resilient. Ours are done blooming for the season, but I have some here. It's just so, you probably can't see that very well. I don't know if you can see that any better, but these are dried, obviously, purple violet blooms. And it's one of the plants that spreads low. It blooms softly. It supports the body in equally quiet ways. This plant is especially powerful for the lymphatic system. If you feel puffy or swollen or like your body is kind of just in that stagnant state, this plant is probably going to be your friend and should be in your home apothecary or your home medicine chest. It's also high in anti-inflammatory compounds and can help with skin issues like eczema or boils, especially when it's made into a salve or a strong tea. You can make any tea into an herbal compress as well by using an unbleached muslin. And you make a heavy tea or strong tea, and then you can soak the muslin into the tea and then use that as a compress. I like to do that on children. And you can put that over the area, making sure that the tea has cooled off, of course, so that you're not creating any burns on the skin. So internally, this works to move that lymph and support detoxification. Externally, it soothes irritated skin. It gives respiratory support, and it's great for coughs and congestion. Now, these are family-friendly herbs that we're talking about. And yes, there are some stronger herbs that we will be talking about later on. This is going to be a 4-week series of herbs that we will be discussing. So how do you use this? 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried or fresh flower per flower or leaf per cup. So right now, since it's done flowering, we have leaves like crazy right now. So we could certainly go and get the fresh leaves and harvest those and dry those too. You can do an oil infusion for the skin. Make that, you can use the oil straight up, or you can even make that into a salve. And then the tincture, 30 to 60 drops, 2 times per day for lymph drainage. Healing doesn't always shout out, and sometimes it just blooms quietly like the violet. So the violet is one of those quiet herbs that just add a really nice addition to your herbal regimen. Now, I don't have any red clover right this minute, but red clover is a deeper layer of healing and is extremely helpful for those in perimenopause, women. Let's just put it this way. Red clover is a gentle phytoestrogenic herb. So it supports women in perimenopause. It supports women with menstrual imbalances and even with detox support. So if you're a woman in my age bracket, red clover mixed with sage especially helps with all of those uncomfortable hot flashes or night sweats. So having 1 to 2 cups of tea with red clover and sage, or even just starting out with red clover, is extremely helpful. It's rich in isoflavones, which help modulate estrogen in the body, but it's gentle. But beyond that, it's also a blood cleanser. It's often used in traditional medicine to purify the blood, and it helps reduce skin eruptions like skin acne, rashes, things like that. So how do you use the red clover? So you dry the blossoms and you make a tea. You can also tincture the red clover. Again, you want to use the dried blossoms. And you can also combine it with other hormone balancing herbs. There's Vitex or lemon balm even, and like I said, sage, also another one to combine that with. So to use it, you would take 1 to 2 teaspoons of the dried flower per cup of water, and you can drink that 1 to 2 times per day. If you're going to make a tincture of it, it would be 30 drops about 2 times per day. Now, this is not for use. Red clover does have phytoestrogens in it. So this is not for use in pregnancy or hormone sensitive cancers. So always check with your medical provider or work with an herbalist. But for many women, red clover is this little puff of pink game-changing relief for someone that's dealing with menstrual issues or hormonal hot flashes, I'm telling you. So you'll enjoy getting some relief from the red clover. All right. Now, this one, many of you here may have seen this one, whether it's in your lawn or plaguing your garden. You can't get much fresher than this because I picked this about 3 minutes before we went live. This is chickweed. And chickweed grows low, it spreads like crazy, but it's packed with cooling, calming, anti-inflammatory compounds. It's traditionally used for joint pain and inflammation, for rashes, eczema, itchiness, even for mild constipation and for soothing the gut. You can eat this fresh in salads or even make a really fresh pesto with it. You can brew this as a tea, or you can infuse it into oil for skin healing properties. So how would you use this as a tea? It's 1 to 2 teaspoons per cup, up to 2 times per day. Or if you're making an oil, you can apply it topically for skin irritation. This plant teaches us something too. Healing is often humble, and it meets us where we're at. Because for years, people have tried to eradicate this humble little plant, not realizing the benefits that it could relieve so many from. I want to also add this. Now, this may look very similar to this one, right? But if you look really close, I'm going to get up close here, you can see that they are different. This is purslane. This is the chickweed. If you look, the purslane has a thicker, you can't see it maybe online, but it's got more of a square stem, where the purslane is a round stem. This feels more like it's in, of course I'm not going to get the word right now. It's got like a flat leaf. It has a milky substance in the leaf, or a juicy substance, or stem, sorry, excuse me. And this is packed with vitamins and minerals. Good source for the heart. Purslane has been in gardens around here for decades. I remember gardening and getting the garden ready when I was a kid, and this is what grew constantly. And we had to eradicate it because, they didn't know better, that this was medicine and nutrition at your fingertips. And purslane is so good for heart health. So that would be another thing. You saute this. You can add it to salads fresh. It's just an excellent summer salad, and it will grow all summer long. So purslane is something you should also add to your summer salad list and heart health benefits. Some other quick ones that I don't have right here on hand, but yarrow is good if you know what that plant is. And I will have some that will be ready that we'll talk about at a later date. That is great for bleeding, for wounds, and for bringing down fevers. Garlic mustard, I do not have any of that growing on my property, but it's great for antimicrobial and detoxifying. Burdock, I will have. I have a beautiful burdock growing right now, and that's deep detox, and it supports your blood flow and your skin. And cleavers, and I do have that tinctured, and also we'll be talking about that at a later date, but that's great for lymphatic drainage. And if you are one that's prone to UTIs, urinary tract infections, it helps with urinary tract prevention. So these are all powerful. Many grow in alleyways, fields, even cracks in sidewalks. So the next time you see a weed, or what we call weeds, ask yourself, is this a problem or is this a provision? Take a picture of it and then learn about it. But before you wildcraft it, make sure it's in an area that A, does not have a lot of human traffic or animal traffic on it, pollution, chemical runoff, toxin load. You want it in an area where it's organically grown. Or if it's an herb that you really want to try, then and you can't wildcraft it, then get it from a reputable source that is organic and grows responsibly and harvests responsibly. So how can you incorporate one or all or any of this into your lifestyle practice? I know we covered a lot today, but more than information, I hope you're walking away with inspiration, right? To look at what we've ignored, to question what we've been told in our health and wellness journeys, to remember that healing is not always high tech, that sometimes it's as simple as a leaf, a tea, or even a gentle nudge from the Lord. So here's what I'd love to encourage you to do next. Take a walk out in your yard. Or if you don't have much of a yard or a garden meaning green area, green space, go to a park, an unsprayed park where you can get into nature. And instead of looking up, look down at where you're walking and see what you can notice about what you've been walking on. What's growing underneath your feet? Then pick one herb. Learn about it. See what you can find out about it. Taste it. After you learn about it, don't taste it irresponsibly. Learn about it. Make sure it's a safe plant. Once you've determined its safety, taste it and sit with it for a month. I mentioned that, I believe, 2 weeks ago. And you just sit with it for a month. See how your body reacts to it. And if it's good for you, make a tea or a salve this week or a tincture. And then share this talk with a friend who needs hope that there is something out there, something more that you can go deeper with, right? That can be right at your fingertips. That it's not always, you don't always find healing in a pill. I'm not saying that pharmaceuticals are evil. Trust me, I need to use them sometimes too. But I am saying that there's more to our healing journeys than just going to a pharmacy. If you want deeper guidance or personalized herbal protocols or help building your own home apothecary, I'd love to talk with you. I'd love to walk alongside you. So I left my link in the first comment, and you can book a session or join one of my upcoming herbal intensives that will be coming soon. Let's reclaim what was lost and let's stop calling healing plants weeds. Let's get back into the garden. I hope you guys enjoyed this first week of our 4-week series, and I will see you next week right here. Have a great week, you guys. Bye for now.